Hello everybody, good morning, evening, noon or night, depending on where you are. Welcome to iRacing's Drivers' World Championship Road Edition here on PSR TV. My name is Simon Smith, and joining me in the commentary booth today is a certain Frosty Sinclair. Hello Frosty.
I'm good, Simon. How are you, man?
I'm very well. I'm all geared up. Now that you're on my neck of the pond, we can all go to the hamburger stands and have a good time here at the Brands Hatch circuit.
Right, I thought it was fish and chips over there.
I'm not fussed, I'll eat whatever. But we've got a 34 strong grid for today, some new names on board, and a familiar name sitting on top on pole position. A certain Gregor Huttu is plopped himself on the number 1 slot. We'll be moving forward to the formation lap. We'll take you through the grid in about 30 seconds time. But you're watching this Brands Hatch race on PSR TV with iRacing.com, giving its little funkiness for us all. So what's your thoughts of this Brands Hatch circuit, Frosty? It seems to be causing a lot of problems with a certain bump down at turn 1.
Actually, Simon, I believe the bump has been smoothed over. They've gone out there and done some work to the track so that the bump should no longer be an issue. What will be an issue is this is an extremely fast track. There's only one slow corner on it. Lots of opportunities to make mistakes. If you make a slight mistake, you're in the wall. Lap traffic here is going to be really key. Coming up on lap traffic, depending on where you catch them on the track, if they don't just pull over and let you go, you could be stuck behind them a long time. And also, pit strategy. They've lengthened the race from 50 to 60 laps, so everybody's going to be on a 2-stopper now, to where people like Gregor Huttu was talking about, he thought he could do 1 stop before. So pit strategy should be key. You should start seeing pits happen between laps 20 and 25 would be my guess.
Okay, as the cars all get to the grid, we'll take you through the running order of our 34 driver field. And yes, quite a key moment there actually, that they've actually extended the whole race by 10 laps. Otherwise we'd all be over and going home quite soon, I'd imagine. However, we shall be popping around. All the drivers are having a quick little good luck to each other actually in the pre-race thing. Richard Crozier is saying that he likes turtles. Let's hope he doesn't drive like one today. But leading us round on a formation lap will be our pole sitter Gregor Huttu with a 1:10.428 was his pole position time. If anyone fancies taking that down, see if you can ever get vaguely close. Starting alongside him will be Luke McLean and P2. Oh, McLean, sorry. Richard Towler will be third on the grid with Ilka Hapler, our little PSR TV driver, fourth on the grid. Alexei Elmaya will be fifth. And that's a new name for me. Sean Purdy will be starting in 6th position with Ben Cornett 7th. Mark Payne will be 8th with Darren Marsh 9 and Daniel Almeida rounding out the top 10. George Sandman will be 11 with Mario Bisegli rounding out 12. And Ian Lake 13 with Ryan Murray 14, if you want to take us down the rest.
Sure, in the 15th spot, Derek Wood, Sam Michaels, who I believe is I think he might be a pro driver making the field, so good for Sam. Also, Alexei Loma is a pro driver as well, making the field too, so way up in the running order for Alexei. Good qualifying effort for him. Then Dion Berger's in the 17th spot, Matteo Calistani in 18th, Jake Sturgios, who is also a pro driver, in 19th, Brad Davies in the 20th spot, Dario Frattini in 21st, Richard Crozier in 22nd, John Prather 23rd, Matt Centel in the 24th spot, Alesh Simonek in 25th, Gerd Hofferer in 26th, Milos Milokovic in the 27th spot, Ray Alfala in 28th, Enzo Lodi in 29th, Tim Holgate 30th, Dave Hoffman 31st, Paul Richards 32nd, Ario Leonetti in the 33rd spot, and rounding out the field, I believe this is his first race, Joel Guiez, I believe is probably how you pronounce his name, a French driver. I believe his first time in the Drivers' World Championship. So, see what he has to offer.
Yeah, we'd like to wish all of our first timers, there's a few on the grid here today, a very best of luck for today. Let's see if they can match the almighty, this is Gregor Huttu. There's a couple of drivers getting together, I just heard there on the formation lap, although it doesn't appear that there's been any lasting damage for the lot of them. And they're just coming around the last couple of corners now. You'll see the pace car pull off, and It's not much of a straight, it's a little bit of a bendy one, but we will be racing in very shortly. And Huttu there, very, ooh, we can see a little bit of stacking going on behind there. Very, very late on the charge down into turn 1. Make sure he's got it. And Luke McLean there has been pushed down to third. Richard Towler has got him and is up into second as they come down into turn 2, Frosty.
What a jump by Gregor Huttu there. Richard Towler doing a good job to get past Gregor's teammate Luke McLean for the second spot. And it looks like behind them you've got, looks like Alexia Loma up into the 4th spot, followed by Team Orion driver Sean Purdy, and I believe, it looks like maybe Ilka has fallen back.
Yes, indeed. There's trouble at the back. Gerd Hofferer, car 29, is off the track altogether, and he has retired from the race. And Dave Hoffman is also in trouble. Car 33 is also facing not quite the right way. And Alice Simunek is off into the wall as well. So plenty of trouble there.
Yeah, sorry about that. Actually, Ilka is still in the 4th spot. Sean Purdy has fallen down to 6th, so I thought they had fallen further back than that. But Gregor Huttu, again, out in front. Round 10, he's gone 10. So far, he's gone 9 from 9, pole and wins. If you guys are tuning in for the first time and wondering what the heck this is simulated racing. This is much like you would hear about a flight simulator or something that people would learn on. This is about the same thing. This is not really a video game, and these guys are connected on their PCs at their homes from all over the world, from Finland to Germany to all over. So very international sport, and it's being hosted by iRacing as the service that puts this on. And these are the best drivers in the world that have qualified for these races that you're watching here today.
Hence why I am talking and not racing, because otherwise that would be a disaster. Lap 1 though completed. Gregor Huttu has got 1.2 second lead over Richard Towler second. Luke McLean's down to third from second on the grid. Alexei Olmeyer is 4. And kicking up a little bit of grass. Ilka Hapler slipped to 5th. Ben Cornett was 6th. Purdy 7. Marsh 8. Mark Payne 9. And Daniel Almeida rounds out the top 10 so far. The casualties that were involved in that lap 1 little disaster that was going on, that we'll see if we can get a replay for you of, if you've not seen it already on your screens. Gerd Hoffer and Brad Davies, the 2 retirements. Alice Simunek has got a car that looks like it wants to do the waltz down the straight, and Paul Richards was in a little bit of trouble as well, I saw. As Milo Smiokovic in car 26 is off into the gravel and in the barriers there. That was an unforced error. He spun under his own steam. Car 26 back on the road again, but down to the back of the field.
I think it's pretty interesting here, Simon. I think you gotta wonder if Gregor's maybe on a lighter fuel load for his first stint, because he is pulling away rather quickly on a pretty short track as far as lap time go. So pulling away at a pretty good clip for being such a short lap, and you've got to wonder maybe possibly he is on a shorter first stint here.
Could well be actually, because Gregor Huttu, he'd done a pole with a 1:10.4, I think it was, and his last time by was a 1:12.1, so that's not too much of a drop off in terms of pace fuel load wise. We'll see what he's up to, but he's got 1.6 seconds over Towler, with McLean following around as well, and we've jumped on board car number 10, and that's Dion Burgess. Sorry, we're on board with Ian Lake in 12th position. My voice is in my head telling me to go somewhere where they shouldn't be, probably a mental home. And look at the train of cars that we've got around here, Frosty.
Yeah, nice battle there. You're going to see a lot of this, I think, all day. As Gregor is starting to pull away, ooh, a little bump in there by Ryan Murray. He's giving him just a little shove. He's trying to help him out. It's all good. So Daniel just, trying to get him to speed up a little bit. But yeah, you're going to see a lot of this all day. I think a lot of really close racing. Again, this track, you can make one small mistake and you're off the track, into the wall, and your race is over. So these guys probably right now still kind of trying to feel everything out and just trying to get into a groove. Probably not racing. And again, Simon, this track with only one real slow turn, it's going to be so hard to pass here. It's going to be really difficult. You're going to have another guy really basically screw up in front of you to get a run on him. It's going to be very difficult. And as well, I think most of these guys are all running pretty close to max downforce setups. Very few of them. I think Sean Purdy might be running one that's not quite maybe what you might consider more of a medium downforce setup. I know some of the Red Zone guys, I've heard them running pretty much max downforce setups, so not really going to have much of opportunity to draft here either, I don't believe, so it's going to be very difficult to pass.
It's Daniel Almeida there feeling the need to ride defensive with Murray down into turn 1, and that's Derek Wood going alongside Ian Lake there side by side down into 2. And Derek Wood smacks into Ian Lake there. Wood very lucky to keep going, car 17, and he's dropped behind. That's Jake Sturwood moving up the field, and Derek Wood saying something. I couldn't quite hear what it was, but I don't think he was particularly pleased there. Car 17, lovely blue livery, facing the wrong way for a split second, but Ian Lake holds a position for now, although he looks like, I thought he was going to pull off and actually let Derek Wood go through there, but he's obviously just shaking his car around just to check the suspension, see what's broken and what's still going in the right direction.
Yeah, he's also got Jake Sturgis in between him and Derek, so if Derek does get back up there, that might happen, but I believe Derek looks like he's now under some attack from George Sandman. It looks like Frattini. I think this is Dario's first race with us as well. I don't believe he has raced all season either. I could be wrong on that.
No, it's a new name for me, car 6, Dario Frattini there, quitting himself rather well here at the Brands Hatch circuit. That's all looking rather good. Nothing particularly has changed too much at the front. You've got Huttu, Towler, McLean, Hapler, Cornet and Elamea is down to 6 with Purdy 7, Marsh 8, Payne 9 and Almeida 10. And I always found with this particular Brands Hatch circuit, it always took me a few laps to dial in, because there's only one kind of slow corner to go on. You kind of, one corner relies so much on the next one that if you just make one tiny mistake, it affects you all the way around the lap, and then you'll find little temps slip every single corner, and you can quite quickly be swallowed up into the car that's just behind, as Derek Wood there is off the track. I've just seen again in pace car 17, but the field continues round.
We were just watching there just a second ago. It looked like Luke McLean trying to chase down Towler. Almost cut the track a little bit too much, and these guys have to be careful. They will get a slow down warning from race control if they cut the track too much. So we saw McLean trying to chase down Towler there a minute ago and using all the track that he can. Huttu still pulling away up to a 4-second lead now after only 7 laps. So that's pretty amazing on such a short lap time track here.
Once again, the alien, as he's called, has dialed himself in perfectly, and last time by done a 111.613, which compares to Richard Towler last time round as a 112.446. So that's kind of a Rosberg versus Schumacher-esque gap going on. So I don't think Towler will be particularly pleased with himself with that. He might be carrying the number 1 number on the car, but he's certainly not number 1 on track at the moment.
Yeah, and again, we could be seeing different strategies there from those guys. Gregor might be quite a bit lighter on fuel, but we've seen this all season, so it's hard to imagine he's too much lighter on fuel, but he has just pulled away. And just to give you guys a quick rundown of the top 10, it's Gregor Huttu, Richard Towler, Luke McLean, Ilka Happel up in the 4th, Ben Cornett in 5th, Alexi Aloma in 6th, Sean Purdy in the 7th spot, Darren Marsh in 8th, Mark Payne in 9th, and Daniel Almeida in the 10th spot.
Actually, car 25, Daniel Almeida, is having to drive very defensively on Ryan Murray, and Murray is taking the car number 19 car, if we can jump to that very quickly. He was taking much wider lines into the corners, admittedly not on that one, but he seems to be able to therefore carry more speed through, and then just keeps arriving on Almeida's rear wing at all the wrong times, in all the wrong places in the circuit to actually do a real overtake. But down into turn 1, he's really later on the brakes. Almeida has to pull right to the right hand side of the track to kind of cover the line, so that he's then still ahead coming into turn 2.
Daniel he's well known, as far as I'm concerned. My racing with him is he's a great defender. It's very hard to pass Daniel. Ryan is really taking a liking to these cars. Ryan Murray, he's been quick in everything. Obviously, you have to be quick in everything to get to this level. But these cars, he seems to really have a grasp on. And he's really quick in these cars in particular. And he is pulling back up on Daniel, taking another look. And just kind of an off-topic subject. Mentioned Ben Cornett's girlfriend Elkie past couple of weeks. I thought I would mention Ryan's girlfriend Rachel and say hi to her.
Hello.
Oh, Ryan, contact with Daniel, almost lost it. I think he's going to lose a spot there.
He has.
He
Ian
did.
Lake's jumped through. Yeah. So Ian Lake not content with just punting off Derek Wood. He's now yoinked a position from Ryan Murray, and now Murray's got it all to do again, and he's got Jake Stierkoy running right behind as well in P13, car 7.
If he's got a stake chasing him, he's got serious issues.
It's one way to move ballast around on your car, I suppose. Also off our screens, Ben Cornett had a mini off, although it's not lost him any times really, or positions, and Milos Miokovic down in P30 had an off and dropped a lap down now already, so not too good for Mr. Milos.
It's like we're taking a look at a replay here. I think it might be of Crozier. He was off into the kitty litter. It looks like he was trying to avoid Sam, who might have spun around and ended up off in the kitty litter doing a little donut there. And I don't think he caught the wall, so should be okay.
Yep. You can't have a small off round here at Brands Hatch, it has to be said, and if you are going to have a decent sized off, then you are most likely to make it all the way across the gravel and into those lovely tyres. So, let's just take a quick run down the order while you look at a battle for car number 28, which is Sam Michaels, who was the resultant of that off in a nice little battle. Gregor Huttu has currently got a 6-second exactly advantage over Richard Towler in second. Luke McLean is following Shadow in third, with Ilka Happler 4. Alexei Almeida is 5, with Sean Purdy 6. Ben Cornett, after his little mini off, has dropped down to 7th, with Darren Marsh 8. Mark Payne 9, and Daniel Almeida still rounds out the top 10 at the moment.
And just give you a rundown of the next 10. Ian Lake in the 11th spot. Ryan Murray slipped back past Ian Lake after that contact he had with Daniel. Jake Sturgios in the 13th spot. George Sandman 14th. Dario Frattini in the 15th spot. Dion Vergers in 16th. John Prather in 17th. Good job for John. He didn't have the best qualifying effort, so he's moved quite a bit away up the field. Ray Alfala in 18th. Derek Wood in 19th, and Matt Santel in the 20th spot.
Dion Vergers actually not normally quite so far down the order there in 16th. He's 4th overall in the championship point standing, so this can't be a stellar afternoon's work here for Dion so far.
Yeah, I believe Dion got actually some contact on the opening lap there in the first couple of turns, and I'm not sure if his car is damaged or not, but that is what has put him back further into the field. Yeah, Dion had a strong season so far, all top 10. It's going to be interesting to see if he can get back up there before the race ends.
Absolutely. Just to round off the rest of the runners and riders from 21 down, Tim Holgate 21st, Matteo Calistani 22, Mauro Bisegli 23, and we've got car 20 off, and that is Matt Santel. He's back going again now, still in car 20 in 20th position, but that's lost him time on Derek Wood and Ray Alfala. But a lot of cars seem to be running a lot of the track and a little bit more of the gravel or kitty litter, depending on what you want to call it. Surely that can't be the fastest way around the circuit, Frosty, surely?
Not from what I've heard. It's a bold strategy, Cotton, but we'll see if it works out for him.
Surely the object of the game is to stay on the black stuff.
Simon, it looks like second place, Richard Towler, Luke McLean right behind him, but it looks like Ilka Happala is trying to crawl his way back up and hang out with those guys, or maybe take a battle to him. You never really know. But he is definitely creeped his way back up closer to McLean. So Ilka might be on the move here.
Yeah, it's a good spot there, Frosty, actually. Richard Towler has done a 1:12.4 last time by. McLean, sorry, was a 1:12.3, and Hapler was a 1:12.2. So they're all kind of concertinaing up into each other, so that should make for an interesting battle in the next 2 laps or so.
I know they had, I forget what the exact name of it is, Simon, but over in Finland I know they had the summer celebration or midsummer celebration, and Ilka's, he's been doing some partying this weekend, so not exactly as prepared as he would have liked to have been, but doing pretty well on track right now as he's trying to chase down third place Luke McLean. Luke, little loose.
So we're just cut into car number 7 here. Stake. He will be stake by the end of the day. Jake Steerdre, he's going to beat Dead Stake in a second. He'd spun his car and left it in the middle of the circuit. We'll see if we can grab a replay of that. Everyone doing well to avoid him, but that has dropped him down to 16th position. He was running quite nicely before that.
Yeah, we're just taking a look at that on replay there, Simon. That might be. We might have to see if we can get that implemented as his official nickname, Jake the Steak Sturgis. That would be interesting.
Can you tell I've not eaten yet? And it's 11 PM where I am as well, so I enjoy. You lot are all sitting down to nice dinner in the evening, and here's me over in actual Brands Hatch itself, about to nod off to bed, and I'm sure Gregor Huttu will be nodding off shortly. He's now got a 10.1 second advantage over Towler, with McLean and Hapler still concertinaing up, and those three are gradually closing into each other for 2, 3 and 4, and they're dropping Alexei Almeida.
Yeah, it sounds like Tim Holgate had a spin. It looks like we're possibly going to catch this on replay here. So good. See if our replay cam can catch it correctly.
I don't think we'll be able to bring it on our screens, but I'll give it an 8 out of 10 for precision and empathy. But he's back going the right way round, as are a lot of the drivers actually. They've all been doing silly little mistakes here and there, and Tim Holgate there dropped back down to 23rd after that, and is busy battling with Richard Crozier, car 14, and those two have both already been in the wars, and if they keep on going any worse, Enzo Lordi in 25th will quickly have the pair of them as well. So all going on here around the Brands Hatch circuit. We're on lap 16, so approaching those pit stops, and Gregor Huttu has been in quite heavy traffic.
Yeah, Gregor into heavy traffic now, and this is where it's going to get interesting. So far, everybody's been really nice and moved over nicely and gotten out of the way pretty quickly. But if you catch a group of cars, especially if they're fighting for position, and as the race goes on longer and he starts lapping further up into the field, if somebody's already battling for their own spot, they may not be so nice as to just move over immediately, and it could cause different people issues. Yeah, it looks like we had an off there ahead of Gregor.
That was Milos Miokovic once again off the track. He's been in the wars left, right and centre today, and he's quite frankly showing exactly how he shouldn't be driving in the top flight of the world. But I think he's going to leave his little imprint on every single corner of the track, and at least he'll mark his territory, even if it is a little bit like a dog.
Looks like we're going to take a look at Alexei running in the P5 position. Alexei doing a good job. He is a pro driver running in the Drivers' World Championship. That means that he missed out on qualifying for this, basically because he just hadn't been in the service yet, but he'll definitely probably be here next year around. He's doing a good job right now running in the 5th spot. Sean Purdy's right on his back door.
Yeah, and Alexi's been doing some fantastic defending action over the last couple of laps. Sean Purdy has been quietly sitting on his rear wing. These two have kind of got a decent enough gap over Ben Cornett, who's dropped off the pair of these since he had his minor off about 6 laps ago. But Alexi's definitely holding his own. This is a fantastic debut into the iRacing Drivers' World Championship Road Edition.
Just taking a look now, Simon, at Ilka Happel, who is now caught basically Luke McLean for that battle for second, third, and fourth. So maybe Ilka should stop preparing for these races, Simon, because he is definitely on the move.
Maybe he should just wing it. See what happens. Well, someone kicking up dust. Everyone's kicking up dust everywhere. This isn't a beach holiday. Need to keep it on the black stuff.
It is very easy to do here. All the curbs can kind of throw your car just a little bit funky, and you can end up out there pretty easily. And also, some of the turns you really have to go for. Well, not some of the turns. Most of the turns you really have to go for it here to put in a fast lap, as these three guys now starting to work around lap traffic themselves. Most likely Milos with a damaged car there.
Getting out of the way rather nicely. We've just lost Sam Michaels. He's just retired from the race, which drops us down to 30 drivers, and Milos is the final runner of those. We've also lost Brad Davis and Gerd Hoffer are out on the opening lap, and Joel Goes also has disconnected, although that was more down to an actual ping problem, I believe, as everyone diving through. Who was that? Dave Hoffman there getting out of the way quite nicely as well, as Milos Miokovic back in the gravel again. And Oreo Leonetti is our first man into the pits, car 32. Pit stops are underway.
Yeah, we'd suspected we would start seeing those between lap 20 and 25. What's going to be interesting is, what strategy everybody's going to choose. I believe Ilka is actually going to choose a 25 lap first stint. So he's going to go about as far as you can go. I think the max that you could go would be about 26. So I think you're going to see Ilka go pretty far. And if these guys in front of him stop short, that's going to play into his hands pretty well, because tire drop-off here really isn't a big issue. So as the tank goes down, you should start seeing lap times maybe get at least a tick quicker. So if Ilka can put in some good laps as these guys come into pit, he could potentially jump up 2 spots.
Definitely in the way they're going around the lap traffic. Towler, McLean and Happler are all in the mid-113s at the moment, which is way off the normal pace, as they all drop through Alice Simunek, who goes 1 lap down. And actually these three are now being so generous to each other. Alexi Almea, or Alomei, sorry, however we say that one, and a certain Sean Purdy, who has dropped slightly off the back actually of Alexi, are catching up at the rate of a second a lap. So this battle for second, third and fourth is about to be joined by 5th, 6th and 7th. Yeah,
Alexi's made a lot of ground up on those 3 guys, and it's likely due just to traffic and where they've caught him on the track. And it's possible that you would see that fluctuate back and forth, but looks like Sean Purdy, I believe, into the pits now. But it's possible you might see that back and forth, but it's also possible that it could work in Alexi's favor and he could catch that group. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, Sean Purdy, car number 4, has pitted and rejoined right in the middle of a sandwich of George Sandman and Ryan Murray, and that is not going to help him get past Alexi at all, as he takes a dive down on Sandman and takes the position away from him as our leader Gregor Huttu pops into the pits. Bang on lap 20, that's exactly 1/3 distance.
Yeah, Gregor in the pits. That's interesting to see. I thought he would have went longer. Now he's got the possibility of having to fight off what Sean Purdy is doing, which is getting potentially stuck behind slower cars and losing time on track. Of course, as fast as he's been, may not matter.
Oh. Alice Simunek, car 22, off into the barriers down at turn 1, right ahead of our race leader there. Very lucky not to get caught out in that. I thought that looked quite exciting. 2x2 into turn 1. Kind of let Simunek actually get going again. It looks like he's parking the car. And here we go, side by side with somebody, that was. And, not quite what you wanted. And there's a nice fish and chip stall actually the other side of that barrier, but I don't think Alice wants to stop for some of those right now. He's back out of the gravel again and off on his way. That has seriously damaged his race, as Richard Towler now currently P1 from Luke McLean and Ilka Hapler, with Alame closing in.
Yeah, so now you're seeing the different strategies play out, and these top three guys running pretty close together. So far, they did not come into the pits that time by. We'll see if Alexi's going to come down pit road. He did not. So now Towler is a rare leader of the Drivers' World Championship Road Division, because most of these races have been led from lap 1 to the end of the race by Gregor Huttu. Very few laps led by other drivers in this series at all. Gregor has pretty much dominated. The Finn has been unbelievable. I know he told me at the beginning of the season, or actually not the beginning of the season, but a race or two ago, he expected to win maybe 8 races or so, and there he was at the time sitting there with 8 wins in the first 8 races, so it's been pretty impressive for the Finn.
Yep, a lot of the middle guys now coming in. Ian Lake and George Sandman are in the pits amongst others, and I don't think any of these leading quartet, plus Ben Cornett is also ahead of Gregor Huttu at the moment. I don't think any of those will actually want to be pitting at all, as Richard Towler is heavy in traffic. Who's that? He's just got round. It's John Prather. Next up on his list is Ray Alfala.
Yeah, these guys are just getting around. Looks like that's Prather, I think he's going by now, and Towler. Heavy traffic, like you mentioned. Gregor Huttu right now only 9 seconds back from these 3 guys, so it's obviously going to take more than 9 seconds for these guys to get in and out of the pits, so Gregor's strategy may be superior here. And also, again, it's going to depend largely on traffic and how that plays out.
And of course, such a short circuit, such a quick circuit as well, everyone is going to be caught and lapped a lot more, as there was slight contact there between Ilka Hapler and John Prather, although they seem to have got away unscathed from each other. And Matt Santel was so busy letting everyone through of the leaders, he actually let John Prather and Ray Alfala through, and Matt Santel was just spun car 20 and been smacked by Ben Cornett. So that is not going to help Ben Cornett's cause at all there.
Ilky won't like that.
Ilky. It's like a little cat name. Actually, we should have everyone a little cat name. It'd be great fun. Richard Towler comes around and keeps his P1 for another lap. And obviously he wants to stretch this as long as he can. But Gregor Huttu is now only 9.5 seconds, behind this. So it's closing in nicely.
Had a major off there behind the 3 leaders. I didn't catch quite who it was. It looked like an all-white car.
Calistani, that was, and he's retired. Car 23, Matteo Calistani, known very much, and one of my favourite drivers, because he's never having a quiet time out on the track, is Matteo. Unfortunately, that's our 5th retirement of the day.
That's only 20 drivers on the lead lap.
Alice Simunek there is limping round still. He's yet to actually get back to the pits from his off, so I think we'll lose him soon as well. So a relatively high attrition rate for this iRacing. There's Richard Crozier and Tim Holgate are in the pits, and
Towler
surely they're all coming through.
Towler into the pits now as well, but McLean and Hapla, I believe, stayed out. They did. Let's see, check and see if Alexi comes in. He keeps going as well. So now McLean, Hapla, Aloma, 1, 2, and 3.
So currently sitting in a podium spot there for Alexis. This is a fantastic debut here in the iRacing Drivers' World Championship Road Edition.
So after this lap, I would imagine, Simon, you'll see everybody come in at least at the end of the next lap for sure. I would imagine this lap though, and see how things cycle back through. Right now, Huttu in the 5th spot, which is very rare to see him back that far. He is 8 seconds off the lead. So you would imagine once everybody cycles through, he will pick that back up as the top 4 cars in front of him have yet to pit.
Enjoy it while we can. Let's just say it once again. Gregor Huttu is in 5th. Oh. It's good to say.
McLean and Hapla both into the pits. McLean and Hapla into the pits. Let's check and see if Cornette comes in. Paloma's in. Cornette.
Our lead trio are all in together.
I don't believe. So Cornette did not pit, but looks like Hapla has passed him on track. He possibly might have damage from that accident they had earlier. So now he is sitting in the 2nd spot.
Yeah, so Gregor Huttu actually passing Ben Cornette on track and therefore is now back in his number 1 spot. Cornette is 2nd, although he is yet to pit. And who's going to win the battle of that lot in the pits? Towler is just ahead of Luke McLean there. Carnuts number 1 and 2. Ilka Hapla right behind, and Aloma has really been the net gain out of all of that because he is now right on Ilka Hapla's tail, and this battle for what will eventually be 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th is now right closed up for what is going to be an absolute stonker of a second half of the race. We're only on lap 26 at the moment, so there's plenty of action here to come here on the iRacing Drivers' World Championship here at Brands Hatch, courtesy of PSR TV.
Yeah, it looked like there's a lot of room being given there as Hapla's all over the back door McLean. There's a lot of room given there between Luke and Richard as they have had some run-ins in the past and trying to give each other some respect there. So forward right now with Ilka, who is chasing Luke. Again, so hard to pass here. Just not a lot of passing opportunities. Only one slow turn. As most of you guys know, as racing enthusiasts, you can make the most time in the slowest corner. So all the lap times here are going to be very similar.
Although, as Hapla completely outbrakes himself, he's run off wide into the gravel and through goes Alexei Olmea up into 4th position. Hapla down to 5th, has got Sean Purdy all over him. Is Purdy going to go down into the inside line? No, he's not. And Purdy cannot make the pass on Hapla, but that was just pure outbraking there from Hapla. Wondering if he was going to try and do a run around the outside or something, or if it was just purely snatching the brakes and off he went. But that did not work out well for Hapla at all. Now, Alexei, we'll call him that for now, moves up into 4th position with McLean just ahead of him, and that's all allowed Richard Towler to pull out a nice 1.2 second advantage over Luke at the moment.
We have to see if Ilka can regroup after that off. Looking at Towler right now at the moment, he's got a decent gap over McLean behind him for the 3rd spot. And Alexei is right on the back door of Luke now, giving him some trouble. So Luke hasn't had much time to breathe in this one. He's always had somebody right behind him.
Which is the beauty of sim racing. We don't have any boring bits like what you might do in some of the real life action. And, I'll never forget, I went to my first proper, I've been a racer for a very long time, and I went off to actually see a real race for the first time. I was all upset that there wasn't any ping problems and that the racing wasn't actually wheel-to-wheel like what you get in sim racing. So if you enjoy your race action, this is definitely the kind of thing that you want to get involved in. And as you can see, Alexei Olmea there is closing right up onto the back, and it looks like he's got the next one on his list to be picked off.
Nice little battle there with Derek Wood. We're taking a look at that.
We've just lost Milos Milokovic from what was 26th position. He's now finally called it a day. He's decided the barriers in turn 1 would be his chosen destination. So he is going to leap over that barrier and have a quick kebab. But that now brings us down to a 28 car field left, because he was still ahead of Simunek, Leonetti. Oh, Matt Sintel was just retired as well, so we're now down to 27 drivers, runners and riders, of which only 17 are currently on the lead lap. Moreover, Segli the last of those, and we'll take you for a quick rundown through the order as you watch the great battles going on your screen. Gregor Huttu is currently leading by 18.3 seconds from Richard Towler second. Luke McLean is third. Alexi Omeo is 4. Vivilka Hapler 5. Sean Purdy 6. Ben Cornett 7. Darren Marsh is 8. All on his own, actually. Poor Darren. Mark Payne is 10. Daniel Almeida is 10. Ian Lake 11, Dario Frattini 12, George Sandman right on his tail in 13. Dion Burgess has made his way up to 14th past Ryan Murray since their pit stops, with Jake Sturjoy is down to 16, and moreover Segli, our last unlatched runner, in 17. Continuing just off the rundown, one lap down, Rael Fallon, Richard Crozier, John Prather, Derek Wood, Tim Holgate, Enzo Lodi, Dave Hoffman, Paul Richards. Alexis Simunek is 3 laps down, as is Oreo Leonetti, and that's your runners and riders for today.
Gregor might be on, well, it's hard to say with so much traffic, but his lap times have slowed down just a tick, down into the 112s. He may be possibly on a heavier fuel load this time by than he was on his first stint, but right now it doesn't really appear to matter. You would think that pitting early like that, like he did in the first stop, and potentially getting behind some slower guys that he would actually be battling with for position that wouldn't just pull over and let him through, may have slowed him down, but it doesn't appear that that has slowed him down either. So we're going to have to find something to slow him down.
Yeah, as the Prather, Wood and Holgate battle, cars 13, 17 and 34 have just taken a turn for the worst, as Tim Holgate, car 34, went off on the final turn and has now had to let Richard Towler through, and that's dropped him off that little mini battle. So Prather and Wood will continue their battle over what is currently 20th and 21st position. So Derek Wood was quite high up the field last time out, but he's back down into his normal territory today. So Tim Holgate there off again. Obviously he's been borrowing Ilka Hapler's beer goggles for some of his excursions today. The other good battle that we've got going on track though is car number 11, George Sandman, down in 13th. And he's got Dario Frattini just ahead and Dion Burgess just behind. But there's plenty of action going out on track, Frosty.
Yeah, absolutely, and it looks like you've got two drivers that potentially, I think in their first race, could be looking at top 10s. Alexia Loma in the 4th spot right now, chasing down Luke McLean, and also Dario Frattini in the 12th spot, so he could also be looking at a top 10 before it's all said and done. Be good results for both of those guys in their first race.
Absolutely. I wouldn't mind a debut like that one day, as we've got several different little battles going on, and Gregor Huttu actually has now kind of got almost enough gap to kind of pit and rejoin, still out in the lead, with his gap now 18.3 seconds, and last time round he done a 112.482. Towler was a 112.440, so Towler desperately trying to stem the gap and minimise the damage going on, but Gregor Huttu currently on for the 100 points.
Alexi is really pounding Luke now, as we're watching that on the screen at the moment. And maybe Alexi is on a lighter fuel load and feels the need to get by here, but he is definitely taking some looks.
We had a much quicker pit stop because he wasn't right behind Hapler before the pit stops, yet he emerged right behind him, so maybe he has fueled himself just a couple of laps in order to get the edge, and therefore have a go in this second phase of the race.
Towler above, or right ahead of these guys, was having some trouble getting by John Prather. Again, sometimes if you catch these guys in the wrong spot of the track, it it can be difficult to find a good place to let them pass, a safe place. And now McLean will be right on the back door of Prather here in just a second. And Aloma right there. So this could be Alexi's shot to possibly get around Luke.
See if anyone can do a Lavaggi moment. Best on 1996 if you can, and Almeida they're much better on the exit of that corner as McLean there runs far too wide, but there's not really anywhere where you can dive through, and McLean is going to have the car 13 through there as Prather gets out of the way beautifully for the pair of them, and a certain Mr. Hapler there is rejoined onto the back of this as well, and McLean I think will be easy breathing down here into turn 1 and actually straight Elomay, sorry, or how you pronounce that, is now actually more defensive from Hapler than actually being aggressive, so it's really swings and roundabouts from one to the other. Purdy is also slowly closing in on this lot as well, so we're going to be back to a 4-run car train there for 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th.
Yeah, Sean's clawed his way back up there with Ilka as well, so close battle there. Just give you a quick rundown. Huttu still out in front. Towler in the 2nd spot, McLean in 3rd. Aloma in the 4th spot with Hapala closing up behind him. Sean Purdy in 6th. Cornette in the 7th spot. That car probably damaged from the contact that he had earlier. Darren Marsh, very solid runner, up in the 8th spot. Mark Payne having a nice run, 9th. And Almeida in the 10th spot.
Oh yeah, Loma's gone off and Ilka Hapler has gone through up into what will be 4th position when they come across the line, and Almeida is going to have to do that hard work all over again. We'll wait for Hapler to lock his brakes and so he can yoink the position back through again. But that's not quite gone to plan there for Alexei, as bizarrely Joel Guerres has rejoined the race. Currently 26 laps adrift, but somehow he's reconnected and gone back on again.
Yeah, so Luke McLean is probably thinking, oh good, you know, finally some breathing room here, and then now he sees Ilka Hapala come through, and as Ilka chased him down earlier, he's probably thinking, oh no, here we go again. So no rest for Luke, as Hapala back up into the 4th spot now. Purdy wasn't actually able to get by Alexei as he had that slide off, so let's see if he can make a run at Alexei as well.
I'm just hoping that a certain Ilka Hapler's ping was okay, because he was flashing for me, but he's returned himself. We're now on board Gregor Huttu, but let's just see exactly what he does, which makes him such an alien. He'll be 21.7 seconds ahead of anyone else.
Gregor working through traffic as we go on board. He's got an Italian driver in front of him. I believe that is Dario. Dario having a nice run here in the 12th spot. And you can kind of see, Simon, as you catch these guys, how it can really compromise your lap. Even if the lap driver isn't really trying to, he can't slow down too much because these turns are just so fast. If you slow down to let somebody by it, it could easily cost you momentum and let other people that you're racing with by as well. So it's a tricky place for both the leaders and the lap traffic to try to let these guys go. And as Gregor's going to get past Dario here, it's going to leave 11 cars left on the lead lap. And just looking through the running order, I would have to imagine you're going to see maybe 7 cars left on the lead lap before this thing's all over. So that's pretty unbelievable. Gregor is just... we're running out of words, really, to describe him.
I'll add one. Boringly perfect. He's going to be up to Darren Marsh by the end of the race. He's having a fantastic, albeit slightly sneaky secret squirrel race up in 8th. But yes, Gregor Huttu there. We're on lap 37, so he's going to be coming up for his 2nd pit stop quite shortly. And he's got 20 seconds over Richard Towler. And the thing that I noticed particularly about this track when you're coming around to be lapped, as I so often am, is that quite a lot of these corners are a bit blind on your entry. So you can't, as you say, afford to really back off too much, because you'll be so much of a surprise for the next car coming round. You'll end up causing more of an incident doing that than actually just holding someone up for the next corner and then trying to find the best place to pull over and just ease off the throttle a little bit.
We're on board with Ryan Murray, who I believe is chasing down. Who is Ryan chasing? I think it might be a lapped car in front of him. Hard to tell. I think that might be. No, I'm not sure who that is. It's difficult to keep up sometimes when these guys are in different laps like this.
It's disgraceful. In front of him he's got Richard Crozier. Ryan Murray is currently running 20th. Crozier is 19th, just ahead of him. Those two are in a little battle, and they have swapped positions a few times, and they've dropped John Prather, who's been a little bit forgiving while letting cars through to be lapped after he had that small incident with Ilka. And they've all just let Sean Purdy through, who is currently in 6th position. So that's why they are a little bit more thinly spread compared to what they were a couple of seconds ago. But they've been having a good little scrapperoo, albeit down in the latter point positions.
Rager coming by for lap 38 now, so if he pits on the same schedule that he did the first stint, you would expect to see him in another 2 laps. We'll have to wait and check and see on that as we're taking a look at Alexei Loma now on screen.
I can't believe the sheer amount of gravel that's being kicked up by all of these cars. It really shows that they're all pushing to the absolute last millimetre of the track, and then some. There's Alexei Loma there, who I must apologise for butchering his name and giving various pronunciations throughout. You can pick the best one and put it on an audio loop. They're running a little bit wide, as did Hapler there, and that is so easy to do. You'd be so busy focused on the car in front. When they make a mistake, you then go and follow suit and then think, oh damn it, I shouldn't have done that, because that was my chance to really capitalise on their mistake and run through. But Alexei there, another wide moment in the previous corner, and just needs to haul himself back in again and have another little lightning pit stop and an in-lap and out-lap that's worthy of a king, and he could very well position himself ahead of Ilka after this little selection and flurry of stops.
I believe, if I'm correct, Simon, Alexei was able to leap some guys on the last pit stop, and it makes you wonder if he's maybe possibly running a shorter fuel stint this time by, or maybe didn't take tires or something that allowed him to have a little bit quicker stop in the pits. But have to see, keep an eye on him and see if he makes a quicker stop this time by.
Definitely, and the way how Aloma is actually pushing Hapler into McLean, the three of them have now pushed back to Richard Towler. Towler had about 2.5 seconds advantage at one point over McLean, Hapler and Aloma, sorry, and they have now pushed back to it being, well, 7/10 of a second it was last time by, on the actual lap line itself, looking a little bit more gappy at the moment as they come round to lap Derek Wood and Dave Hoffman, but that's now going to run Richard Towler at much more of a risk. His second place is no longer really safe anymore. As Gregor Huttu is into the pits.
Oh, there he is, lap 40, so just on schedule.
Clockwork, like his lap times.
You know what's interesting, Simon, is he may be able to get this done before these guys come around. How amazing would that be?
Towler's just
looks like
popping
Towler's
out.
Gonna go by.
No, he's going to do it. Oh dear. Gregor, humorous and just do something silly. There's Derek Wood. Oh! No! Something silly is that. Derek Wood's obviously heard the calls of PSR TV. And Richard Towler's through. McLean's round it around. Hapler's going to dive through as well. And suddenly Gregor Huttu is, and El Mayo is going through as well. Huttu from 1st to 5th. Admittedly, they've all got to pits, but that is the biggest piece of drama that Gregor Huttu has actually had happen to him all season long, and you have to wonder what kind of damage that may well have done to his car.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys getting past isn't the real story. Ooh, he's kind of off there. As we're basically watching him now to see. Looks like we're taking a look at the replay. Derek Wood, really quite sure what happened there, or what he was thinking. He just went really deep into the turn and just smacked right into the race leader. So now you have to wonder, the big story is does Gregor have damage? Because obviously the guys in front of him have to pit again, so he's not overly concerned about that. It's just whether or not he has damage. It was reminiscent of, you know, we saw this happen again at Watkins, where Gregor had trouble with a lap car and was luckily got away without damage and was able to go on to win. But this could be a different story.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's the problem of, well, it's the nature of the beast. Sometimes in sim racing and real racing, you will have to, your kind of fate is in the lap of other people, and unfortunately sometimes it doesn't quite work out. But Richard Towler is back into the lead currently at the moment. Luke McLean is second, was 1.2 seconds down last time by, although it looks a little bit closer now. Hapler's third, and Eloma is in fourth and hounding the back of that Finnish car's rear wing very much indeed. And I have to say, Gregor Huttu is not closing or making any impression him at all. We're on lap 42 of 60, and that means that we are well deep into this kind of pit stop window now. But all of them go round for another run.
I'd have to almost say, Simon, that his car looks damaged. I mean, he doesn't look like he's exiting the corners with Gregor-like speed, like, you know, in confidence like you normally see from him. And I would have to guess that his car's probably damaged, so it's going to be interesting to see how well he can drive that thing. Of course, right now he's basically one pit stop up on the guys in front of him, so he's still in pretty good shape, depending on how much damage he got. But last lap by for him was a 112.5. It was a relatively clean lap, meaning he didn't really have a whole lot of traffic in front of him. And normally you'd probably expect to see him down into the 111, so I would have to guess he has damage. Wow, you know, Derek Wood has always been one for controversy, and this isn't going to be any different, that's for sure.
Enzo Lodi there. Track. Yeah, he was busy. He's just come out of the pits there, Lodi, and that didn't quite work out well at all. Just caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. And Towler, McLean, Eloma, and Hapler all half a second faster than Huttu that time by. But because of, as Ian Verges is in the pits, and Ian Lake as well, but Huttu there a 112.3 that time by, and because of everyone getting out of the way of Lodi, none of them kind of beat Huttu's time that time by, so stalemate in gap wise for everyone so far as the second round of pit stops underway for the midfield.
You know, in all that drama, I might have missed it, Simon, but it looks like Alexi has gotten past Ilka and is now running in the third spot. Not quite sure how that happened. I missed it. Apologize for that.
Now, I think that might have been to do with the Lodi incident, but yes, once again, it's not quite gone well for Hapler and certain Eloma back up into third place, and that is potential podium slot currently at the moment. Richard Towler has just popped a P on, as has Alexi Eloma. So obviously, lap 44 is time to pit, and Eloma there almost running over the complete exit altogether there, braking at the very last moment. Towler in, Jake Sturjoy is also in as well. Huttu and Hapler and McLean continue on.
Yeah, now Huttu is made time back up on at least Ilka. 112 flat last time, 5 for Gregor. So, I mean, all things, you know, equal, the car is, if it is damaged, likely it is, just from the way that his lap times are running, but maybe not damaged all that much. But now the question is it damaged bad enough to where it would cause Gregor to make a mistake that he maybe normally wouldn't? So right now it's still sitting pretty for Gregor Huttu, is he's got first and second right in front of him, but they have still yet to pit. So looking like he is in pretty good shape here.
Alexei Aloma had an absolutely torrid pit stop, and he has lost at least 10-15 seconds on Richard Towler, because Towler is coming down into the last couple of corners, and poor old Aloma is still on the Brands Indy section of the track. So he just kind of, maybe he had some damage that he was trying to repair or something like that, as Ilka Happler pops into the pits from second. McLean continues on for another run. That pops Huttu up into second, but that is going to have undone all the hard work that Alexei has done, and possibly Ben Cornett, who is 17 seconds behind McLean at the moment, could well still leapfrog Alexei and move up into 6th position. It was that bad a stop.
So I believe Luke and Ben still have yet to pit.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. Car 1, Richard Towler and Ilka Happler. Happler rejoining in the pits right in front of Richard Towler, and Towler's having to go very, very defensive to make sure that he's going to stay ahead. Can Happler do it down into the next corner? Towler feeling the need to go defensive. Happler around the outside is going to have a faster exit off the corner perhaps, but nowhere to go, and that's Towler keeping the position just for now. Sorry to interrupt you there, Frosty.
No, that's absolutely okay. And when this, when it all comes down to the end, this very well could be a battle for the lead. If Gregor's car is damaged and he happens to throw it off the track, but having to take a look now at Luke, see if he's going to come into the pits. I believe he did.
Oh, he's gone around again. He's got 2.8 seconds over Gregor at the moment, so that lap has kind of increased actually. Luke McLean done a 111.6 last time round. Huttu done a 112.1. So McLean once again pulling out another half second, but they need to do a little bit more than half seconds on him, because otherwise they're not going to be able to close down the actual gap that Huttu had built up in the first 2/3 of this race.
Yeah, Gregor's fastest lap of the race is a 1:11.4, so he's definitely off that a bit, so you'd expect him to have some kind of damage after the contact with Derek Wood.
The thing is, though, is that he had such a big gap that he can afford to manage that damage. Rhymed. He can manage the damage all the way home and not have to drive on the limit and hope that it doesn't snap away from him, as Darren Marsh has been in and out of the pits and has rejoined back down in about 9th or 10th position. 9th position just ahead of Dario Frattini, who is yet to pit for his second time, I believe, who's currently running in top 10 place at the moment, Dario, so that's great stuff for the debutant Italian. And we'll just wait a couple more laps before I give you a full rundown of the field, because there's still a few people who have yet to play their final piece of the puzzle here on this iRacing Drivers' World Championship race here at Brands Hatch. And we're on lap 48 of 60.
Yeah, Luke McLean's hybrid Dallara car is still going, so let's see if he can make it all the way to the end. He's getting pretty good MPG there. Interesting to see. It looks like him and Ben Cornett, which is his fellow countryman and Team Redline teammate, are on the same pit strategy, while some of the other team has chosen a different strategy, as obviously Gregor came in on lap 20 and lap 40, so quite a bit different on the strategies there for those teams.
Quick shout out as well actually to P8 car number 12 Mark Payne. I've not seen him popping for a second stop, but he's been doing very well so far, and he's now currently showing 8th and looking rather nifty indeed.
Speaking of a quick shout out, Simon, I just wanted to quickly mention the last race that we broadcast here on PSR TV for the Drivers' World Championship. We were talking about Team Orion and drivers that weren't participating in the Drivers' World Championship that had qualified for it. And I mentioned myself and Peter Reed, but forgot one of our fastest drivers, which I completely apologize, Brian McDaniel, who Brian is by far one of our fastest drivers, and would be battling for podium finishes without a doubt if he just wasn't so busy with school and work and everything else, so it's keeping him out of this championship. But Brian would, he's definitely one driver that's missed out there. He would be adding some excitement, that's for sure.
Definitely, and we welcome everyone to come along and join in on iRacing.com if you fancy having a little tussle around with maybe not these guys, but some people, probably like me, down in the really lower ranks of the divisions, plodding around, just attempting to keep the car on the black stuff. And we've still got 26 runners running. The last of those is Aurelio Leonetti. He's 5 laps adrift, but doing rather well, as Luke McLean is into the pits from what is now second position, because a certain Mr. Huttu has resumed number 1. It's okay, everyone, the world is not off its axis anymore, we're all good. Huttu's back in the lead, McLean in the pits, someone else was, that was Dario Frattini as well, so that will lose him his 10th place. And McLean rejoins, and where is he in relation to everyone? Is he ahead?
Well ahead.
Absolutely miles ahead there of Towler and Hapler, and that has worked out absolutely perfectly for Luke McLean, who has used his strategy to perfection to yoink second position. Good on him.
That is a very scientific term, that is for sure.
I do science, me. Still yet to pit though is Ben Cornett in 3rd position, car number 8, and he is really going to be the last one to blink. And if he's not going to try and go for the whole one stop, which I don't think you can actually do on these fuel tanks, so he must come in at some point, surely. And he's busy being blocked actually by Dario Frattini, who's just trying to find the best place to let him through, and that's someone not doing very well ahead. That's Dion Verges, who, car number 10, currently running 13th, and he's going to slip down to 14th, courtesy of that. And Cornett stays out again.
Yeah, that car probably carrying some damage, and because of that, it's probably not turning the lap times that it's capable of for Ben, and potentially, obviously, letting him. If that makes any sense. Potentially, obviously, making him be able to go longer on fuel than what he normally. Oh,
Verges.
Yeah, Verges with a damaged car kind of caused a pile up there, and that sent Ben off the track.
And Bisegli as well.
Ilke is going to be not happy.
Poor old Ilke. Ilke sounds like he needs a hobnob and a glass of milk before curling up in the sofa. But Ben Cornett there is back going again, and if he hasn't pitted, he needs to now. And just even if it is to kind of put the wheels all in a straight line facing the right way. Mark Payne has just gone a lap down. He's pitted, that's why. And that will give his status resume. And, well, let's see exactly what's going to happen to a certain Ben Cornett.
Taking a look at a replay here and see if it's, I think it's of the Ben Cornett incident. And heading up to turn 1 here and see what happens to Dion, who's just in front. Dion, so far looks fine. Turn 2. Dion goes, Dion actually went to go around somebody, couldn't quite see who that was, got tapped, which is what spun Dion around, and then that's what caused the incident. So Dion wasn't completely at fault there, he had a little help.
It's a shame there, it's not been the best race there. I've just heard a massive smash actually. It looks like Ryan Murray is in the wall. Can't quite see car number 19 in the middle of the Brands section, off into the wall. He's back going again by the looks of it. Oh no, he's retired, he's out. Ryan Murray out from 13th position. That's a shame, he's been doing a fantastic race, and that looks possibly to do with a certain Paul Richards, who had basically come to an absolute standstill to let a massive train of cars through, and I wonder if Ryan Murray suddenly saw him at the last second and had to take evasive action, which cost
actually
him a certain
Simon,
wheel.
sorry to cut you off, Simon, but it looks like he just lost it. He hit a curb and just lost it on the exit of a corner, got stuck in the wall, and Rachel's not going to be happy with that.
No. You won't be getting any bedtime treats there, I'm afraid. So let's take a quick rundown of the order on lap 53 of 60. Gregor Huttu is currently leading by 25 seconds, so any damage he has got is certainly not hurting his cause whatsoever. McLean is second, Richard Towler's third, 26 seconds down, with Vapor Hapler fourth, and that's probably one of the best battles we've got at the moment. And Sean Purdy is 5. Alexei Aloma 6, Ben Cornet is 7, and the last unmatched runner. Then 1 lap down is Darren Marsh, Mark Payne, Ian Lake running in 10, so pleased with that. Daniel Almeida down to 11, Dario Frattini 12, George Sandman 13, car number 11 has got Dion Verge's car 10 all behind him, with Mauro Basegli rounding out the top 15, with Jake Sturjoys, Ray Alfalla, Richard Crozier, Joan Prather, Ryan Murray has retired and is 2 laps down, which promotes Tim Holgate to 20, Enzo Lodi to 21, Dave Hoffman 22, Paul Richard is 3 laps down 23, Derek Wood has just retired from 4 laps down 25th, and Aurelio Leonetti is 5 laps down and still going strong, 26th position. Good on you, Aurelio.
Yeah, and we're taking a look at looks like Towler right now. Could be mistaken. And it looks like we got Ilka, I almost said Hilka. Ilka right behind him, and these guys are slowly kind of crawling back up to Luke, and what could be happening is these guys are drafting off each other a bit, maybe doing a bit quicker lap times, and they're only about 9/10 of a second behind Luke McLean now for that battle between 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So they have made up time since Luke has exited the pits anyway. And they're going to see if they can't chase him down. Lap 54 of 60 right now for the leader, Gregor Huttu. Actually, Gregor might be on lap 55.
Also still running, I forgot to say, is Joel Guez in 28th. He is 27 laps down, but he had that strange connection issue and is back running again, as we just saw him go through your screen as he was letting the leaders through for another lap. So,
and the gap stayed the same that time, Simon, between Luke and Richard, 9/10. So as they are working their way through traffic, that could play a big part in it. Depending on when everybody catches other cars, could bring them further together, or further apart, or closer together, one or the other.
Although having looked just ahead, there is only, I mean, you've got Luke McLean, sorry, just a couple of seconds at the road. Ian Lake is their next man to come and lap, and he's about 12 seconds further up the road, so I don't know if they'll actually catch him before the end of the race. So Hapler's really got to do it on track with no obstructions in the way.
Gregor just coming by, 5 laps left to go for the leader. Just to let you know, he has a 25-second lead, so Derek Wood actually didn't hurt him too bad there with that collision they had.
Yeah, hurt himself and he's retired.
Oh, Wood has that on his. So I think obviously we need to send Ilka out partying more often. He is definitely having a strong run here. Potentially with that one small off, he could even be up higher in the standings here, Simon. He's having a really good run as we're watching him chase Towler, and both of these guys trying to catch up to Luke just ahead of him in the 2nd spot.
Absolutely, we should give him beer goggles. Thing is, though, is that they're actually dropping their pace quite dramatically from Luke McLean, and that is going to hand McLean a certain second now, because they're running 0.6 of a second slower per lap than McLean at the moment.
Yeah, and again, that could be just because of traffic that last lap. I know it looked like the last lap by Richard and Ilka, who Ilka right on Richard's bumper now, caught a car in turn 2, which is the slowest turn in the track, and that could be the big reason for the fallback, as we're going to check as they come by the start-finish line this time and see what the gap is. Yeah, the gap has jumped up quite a bit. It's almost 1.8 seconds.
Just behind these, Sean Purdy in 5th and Alexei Aloma in 6th are gradually closing in on each other, and they're in the thick of battle as well. They've got Mauro Bisegli, George Salmon and Dean Verges all around each other. and Hapler has dropped ever so slightly off the back of Richard Towler. That's probably the most furthest apart we've seen them for the last couple of laps. So Hapler may be just regrouping for one last effort with about 2 or maybe even the final lap to go.
Yeah, they've still got, I believe, 3 laps to go, I think. Just to give you guys a quick rundown, it's Huttu out in front, Luke McLean in second. Excuse me. Richard Towler in the 3rd spot, Hapola in 4th. Just taking a look at Darren Marsh, I believe, on the screen. I think that was Darren. Sean Purdy in 5th, Alexi Aloma in the 6th spot, Ben Cornett, who needs to pick up the pace so that my prediction of 7 cars on the lead lap is correct, running in the 7th spot. Darren Marsh is in 8th. Mark Payne looking good for a top 10 finish for Mark. That would be a good run for Mark in the 9th spot. And Ian Lake also in line for a top 10 finish here. 1 lap down with Daniel Almeida in 11th.
Car 34, Tim Holgate, has been busy spinning himself around. He's got back going again now, but it's not been the best of afternoons, evenings or nights, depending on where you are, for Tim Holgate. Currently holding on to P20 at the moment. And he is going to keep it just about, but it's not been a stellar afternoon for Tim Holgate at the moment.
Two laps left to go now. Actually, maybe closer to maybe a lap and a half or so for Huttu. And that gap is still growing between McLean and Towler. Last lap by for McLean was a 1:11.8, and Towler and Hapola in the 1:12. So McLean, at least for the moment, seems like he's going to be able to hang on to that 2nd spot.
Ilka desperately trying to almost off-put Towler at the moment. I've seen him a couple of times as that's not the racing track, come on, as they continue on their way round, and Hapler taking much tighter line to some of the corners. And I saw 2 laps ago he had a good stab halfway round the back end of the circuit. So Hapler by no means done and dusted. He wants that 3rd podium slot, but he's only got 1 more lap after this one to do it, because we're going to be home and dry by then. And this is where he had the stab last time by. He's not taken much of a decent look this time, but he's going to position himself quite nicely into the final couple of corners, and that could let him have a good springboard action down into turn 1. Let's see what he can do. Not the greatest exit there for Hapler, but he's into the slipstream. He's going to look out and have a nose into 1. No, he is not, but he's taken a much tighter line. Let's see what he can do into turn 2. Towler kicking up the dust, Hapler going for the inside, but he's not able to make it work at all there. Towler with more than enough speed and enough of a cut across the line to keep his position. So that should kind of keep that resolved, and that's going to leave a certain man up the front with that P1 next to him again, ready to cross the line.
Yeah, can you say 10 for 10? Amazing. Gregor Huttu, 10 poles, 10 wins. We got a turn left to go, I believe, here. And Gregor is going to take another win. Unbelievable. Let's jump back and take another look at that race as Gregor's going to cross the line for the win. Let's take a look at that battle for 3rd, if we could. Yeah, just not... Ilka's going to run out of time here, Simon. Just there's no passing opportunities, really, I don't believe, between now and the finish line. So
no, it's going to try and do a dive down the inside, but that is too little, too late for poor old Ilky. And I don't think he'll be too upset with 4th place anyway, especially if it's been one hell of a complete train wreck party for him all week. So Gregor Huttu there takes the win, 1 hour 12 minutes 59 seconds, and fastest lap by the looks of it as well for him. Luke McLean takes a well-deserved 2nd place. He ended up some 4.3 seconds clear of Richard Towler, who took the 3rd podium slot just by the skin of his teeth from Ilka Hapler. For Sean Purdy, if I could turn back time. I'm sure that... No, it wasn't there, was it? Oh, I don't know. He was 5th anyway. But Lexi Aloma, fantastic effort for 6th place on debut. And I think that's a name that we may very well be looking out for in the future, because he drove some stunning laps and gave us much entertainment today. Ben Cornett was 7th and 55 seconds down. So you were right, Frosty. 7 on the lead lap. Well done.
Oh, thanks. I try to do as best I can. Looks like Darren Marsh finished up in the 8th spot, Mark Payne in 9th, Ian Lake in the 10th spot, Daniel Almeida in 11th, Dario Frattini in his first race in the 12th spot, Dion Vergers his first time outside the top 10 after a rough start for Dion in 13th, George Sandman in 14th, and Jake Sturgios in the 15th spot.
Mauro Bisegli was 16th, 1 lap down. Rayo Fowler and Richard Crozier were 17 and 18. 2 laps down is John Prather with Tim Holgate, Enzo Lodi, Dave Hoffman. 3 laps down Paul Richards. 6 laps down Aurelio Leonetti, and 27 laps down was Joel Guez, with our retirements today of Ryan Murray, Derek Wood, Alice Simunek, Milos Miokovic, Matt Santel, Matteo Calistani, Sam Michaels, Brad Davis and Gerd Hoffra. And well, that was a great evening's entertainment here for iRacing on the Brands Hatch circuit, here for the Drivers' World Championship Road Edition in a rather fantastical 2 weeks' time, I believe. We shall be over at Mosport 10th of July for a rather good circuit. I was racing there on something else not too long ago, and be good. And don't forget, you've got Daytona on Tuesday as well for the usual Drivers' World Championship too. That goes round in circles. That's NASCAR, isn't it? I'm British. I don't understand these things. You'd be better at it, Frosty. Explain.
Well, I'll explain that to you if you can explain soccer to me. But yeah, absolutely. At least we could thank Derek Wood for some at least some excitement there in this one. And Gregor again pulling out 10 for 10. It's amazing. At this point, it's just you got to think he's just not going to lose a race. Man, he's definitely putting this championship away, that is for sure.
Definitely, indeed. And yep, some definite heart in mouth moments today. So I wonder who's going to place a bet on him getting all 18 rounds. Scratchy. So I don't think we've got any drivers popping in for a quick interview today. So that, I think, leaves us to sign off. I'm going to go
before
and
we
get
did
Frost.
That, Simon, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to say before we did that, I wanted to give a shout out to Dom DeHaan. He is potentially off tonight. He missed the race tonight because he is potentially having a baby. So, well, not him, obviously, but
him.
So wish him the best of luck, and look forward to seeing Frosty DeHaan in the future soon, because I know he's going to name him after me.
Aww. The next generation of sim racings are being brought to you right now. So don't forget, if you fancy getting involved in all the action, don't forget, pop over to iRacing.com and sign yourself up. There's a good little trial period you can try out for yourself, and then once you've got hooked like the rest of us, then you'll be there forever. But until then, don't forget to tune in next time, Tuesday, for the NASCAR event, and then 10th of July for Mosport for the iRacing Drivers' World Championship Road Racing Edition. I've been here today with Frosty Sinclair. My name's Simon Smith. We're going to go and grab a kebab and we'll explain the offside rule. Until then, take care of yourselves and we'll see you soon. Bye for now. Bye.